Alright, we have arrived, team. We're back. The panda is back on my shoulder. So I guess now I am the Panda Express. Hey, Alphinaud's painting a picture. Damn, that actually looks really good. Look at that. Holy shit. I mean, that actually, we already know Alphinaud's an amazing artist. It's good to see you back. You were taking so long, I began to worry something had happened. I began sketching an outline for the portrait, but nay, the giants appear otherwise occupied. Will you share your investigations we have gleaned so far? So Lord Fothry boasts some manner of influence over the Sin Eaters, does he? That would explain the reverence in which he is held by the citizenry. And as for this ascension business, I cannot help but be put in mind of that apothecary and his ominous remarks. If so many folks entered the city over the years, then where do they go? Emergent Splendor. Oh shit, I learned Dia. Actually, I learned Dia and Glare. Alright, we'll show you guys that real soon. I take my eye off you for one moment, and you're chattering away with that assistant of yours. Am I to assume the outline is done, then? What in the blazes? It's so unflattering. Explain yourself, Alphinaud. Where's your artistic interpretation? It should invoke images of affluence and nobility, and overwhelm the viewer with boundless beauty. Lord Chai, you stated that this portrait was to commemorate your anniversary. Yours being a joyous union, it seemed to me that a realistic portrayal. Realistic? I don't want realism, I want perfection. A spectacle to slacken the jaws and weaken knees, to make people cry out in amazement. Now fetch a blank canvas and... I say, did that come from above? Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please! A tale to make you quiver and noble blood freeze. There was a villain on the loose, set to ruin our fair city. But our lord had got him now, and his fate will not be pretty. Yes, the hammer of justice is poised to come crashing down, and one and all who'd watch it fall are invited to join his lordship in the offer. Malcontent? How dreadful. And this man is to face sentencing? That's right. In fact, if you're curious, it might be worth going along for the experience. The offer they mentioned is part of the Emergent. The level above us is where Lord Vothry resides. Ordinarily, you would be barred from entering, but it seems they'll be opening its doors for the next little while. The crown lift will take you up there. Hang on a sec, guys. My apologies. Ever since Bailey got really sick and whatnot, I've been like hyper attuned to the sounds that she made. And Mira was making odd sounds, so I had to figure out what she was doing. She was just in the window chirping at birds, so it was just a kind of warble I've not heard her do before.
Right, sweetheart? Hi. We'll play soon, okay?
We had better not dawdle then. And now Mira's playing with her duck, so. Joining the crowd up there. Yes, let's go check out exactly what this sentencing is all about.
That's him. That's Vorthri. He's attended by sin eaters. But how does he keep them from attacking?
Mercy! Mercy!
By the 12. Kaishia, what happened to you?
Who are these impudent louts? I do not recall requesting their presence.
Lord Vorthri, what is the meaning of this? Why is this poor man bleeding to death on your floor?
Why? You ask me why? Because criminals must be punished. And this man is guilty of fraud. He came to us, claiming to be a man of business. Yet his subsequent conduct has shown him to be anything but. Eulmore is a city built on love for one's fellow man. Those who have naught to give and live only to take are a blight upon our society! To atone for this crime, I ordered that he fling himself from the balcony. And he had the temerity to weep. Please, my lord, anything but that. What then is a man of mercy to do? But offer the sinner another way to show his contrition.
Another way? Meaning what exactly?
Sin eaters are part of Eulmore's society, but they must be fed with ether. Living ether. So, I demanded an offering of flesh, carved by his own hand, from his own hide. And still, he could not do as I asked. A wholly unsatisfactory performance.
It is true that Kaishia won his place here by fraud, but his actions were driven only by a desire to share in your paradise. That you would cast him out I could almost accept, but to humiliate him thus, to demand his very life? Is this truly the way of Eulmore?
Oh, you dim, deluded child. Have you ever paused to consider what it takes to maintain such a paradise in this barren, broken world of ours? The guarantee of safety and stability. The knowledge that if one only abides by the rules, one has naught to fear. I alone can offer these things, for I alone can command the Sin Eaters. And thus am I alone the voice of justice, and any who oppose me, villains to be punished.
And people call this paradise.
You were granted a place in my city for a particular skill. What was it?
Painting.
Oh, an artiste! Then you shall paint a picture for me of Eulmore. If I find your art pleasing, then I may excuse this display of insolence. Who gave you permission to tend to that criminal's wounds? I told you to paint me a picture!
What you need is a mirror, not a painting. It will capture the horror I see before me far better than I ever could. Can you walk?
I think so. Did that little worm just insult me? I'll kill them! I'll kill them all! I'll enslave their minds! I'll torment them! Torture them! Then tear out their hearts!
Well, Vothri is an individual. Thank you again. Forgive me, in my anger, I seem to march us back outside again. Though it is probably best that we leave the island altogether, I believe we've worn out our welcome in Eulmore. In any case, I've seen enough of the world's self-proclaimed capital city to convince me that our battle against the Sin Eaters will find few allies in Calusia. I will accompany you back to the Crystarium. We need to regroup and think on our strategy anew. Cashier, I have done you a grave disservice. You were hungry and desperate, and I offered you a solution without one considering the risks inherent in you accepting it. If I had but known the price you would be made to pay... You gave me everything I needed to make your idea work. It was me who made a mess of things, not you. But even after all the trouble I caused, you still stepped in and saved me, and now Lord Vothri wants us all dead. Why not come back with us to the Crystarium? I am certain we can find work for you there, if you are willing. No, that would just be me leaning on your kindness again. I need to do some thinking, learn how to stand on my own 2 feet. Very well, but you must promise me you'll be careful. The Eulmorians may yet come looking for us. I'll keep my head down, don't worry, and you take care too. Give me the chance to repay what you've done for me. Alphinaud! Lord and Lady Chai. What in the blazes did you do? They have the entire city looking for you. I took a peek at your unfinished portrait, Alphinaud. Now, I've had many a beautiful and striking picture painted for me, but there was something about your work. It was as if you had caught the very essence of our love and rendered it naked upon the canvas. It was bold, unflinching, and I adored it. Please, you must come back with us and finish what you began. I will speak with Lord Vothry and vouch for your character. I'm sure we can smooth over any hard feelings. I am sorry, Lady Chai. There are more important matters to which I must attend. More important? What could be more important than enjoying the days we have left to us in the fullest? Pray, press me no further. We are leaving, but I would not presume to take the garments that you were so kind to procure for me. One moment. I wouldn't hear of it. Keep the clothes, you silly boy. I insist. And I shall make arrangements so you can pass through the gates without causing a stir. I expect you to come and visit. I will return, I promise you that. The outrage I witnessed must not go unanswered. The next time we meet, I shall be better prepared to confront the corruption which hides behind the glittering facade. So, we just met with Vothry, Lord of the, Lord of Eulmore, which was interesting. But on top of that, we also met with, we also saw a mysterious person watching the proceedings. Also, we got a new spell, guys. We got Glare and Dia. So first, let me cast this on myself. Here is Dia. Very close there, apparently. So it replaces our wind spell, which is it's a damage over time, and here's Glare. Looks much cooler than stone in some ways. Although having the earth erupt from beneath the enemy's feet was pretty sick. Anyway, Tengage, how you doing today? You got any plans for the weekend? And as you can tell, Vothry's a bit of a spoiled, gigantic man-baby. Both in appearance and in action. No worries, though. We get to leave now. Fuck Lucia. Damn hobgoblins. I find it interesting that it took them this long to add the model of the goblin from Final Fantasy I to the game. Maybe they were in the game earlier, just as a special part of the quest, but yeah. Setting up a covered dog run this weekend? Oh ho! Had an interesting work call this morning? Have they asked you for your liver and your spleen yet? In return, they'll give you another blank SQL environment to work in. Thank you, my friend, for staying on my side through this whole sordid endeavor. Well, it's not quite the joyous outcome I had hoped for. Our efforts have nevertheless answered a great many questions. Suffice it to say, our plans for saving the first are unlikely to involve the aid of Lord Vothry and his subjects. Come, we must speak with the Exarch and chart a new course. This is far from over. The woman running e-commerce called you to look to quantify the impact e-commerce is having on sales, which is interesting work. I mean, yeah, giving you something to dig into is, you know, of interest to you is great. I recently got a chance to look at one of the other departments and see exactly what they do and how they know their systems, and it was eye-opening. Hey, Allison. I see you've reunited with my brother as well. I dearly love to hear how that story went. I'm told you and Alphinaud carried out his scheme to infiltrate Eulmore. I would ask that you thought of its base amusements, but I doubt you were eager to relive the experience. am I gonna do with a blank SQL environment? It's good to be back amongst friends. Not to mention my dear sister. I have not seen her for some time, but I gather she is as keen to press on what our plans as I am. As you've seen quite a lot of the first yourself now, more than enough to appreciate the scale of the obstacles we face, let us lay our discoveries before the Exarch and discuss what must be done. If only every count could share the Crystarium's spirit of independence. Still, I suppose one cannot decide for others what they should and shouldn't deem important. My powers of persuasion have certainly had little effect on the people of Calusia. Whenever I come to the Crystarium, the sands of Amarang seem a world away, and yet they both lie under this same wretched sky. The Light Wardens.
And so you return. Have you gained a better understanding of the crisis now faced by the First?
Better is not the word I would use. Some lands may have been spared the flood, but the survivors live only to suffer. There seems no end to the horrors inflicted by the Sin Eaters.
Indeed. Those abominations are a calamity in their own right. And I can well imagine how hopeless the task of eradicating them must seem to you. But after countless battles and untold sacrifice, we have identified a potential weakness. Sin Eaters are drawn to serve the strongest of their kind, a class of creature we call Light Wardens. And from what we have been able to ascertain, only a handful of these entities exist. Just as an ant colony will perish in the absence of its queen, we believe that the death of a Light Warden will cause the lesser creatures within its sphere of influence to disperse.
I have a feeling Eulmore might have something to say about any concerted action we take against these monsters. Vorthra's command over the Sin Eaters is integral to Eulmoran society. In seeming to guarantee his people's safety, it guarantees their obedience. He will not take kindly to us depriving him of such useful allies.
Agreed. Thus we will need to occupy or otherwise divert his forces whilst we proceed with the business of eliminating the Wardens. Until we have done so, all other considerations must be set aside if we are to forestall the 8th Umbral Calamity.
Are you sure that eliminating the Wardens will be enough?
Your uncertainty is understandable given the circumstances. Perhaps a more detailed explanation is in order. To begin at the beginning, then. In the ancient past, a single star was divided into 14 worlds. This is the source, your home. These others are the 13 shards, in whose number we find the first. Though physically separate, they retain a connection to each other and with the source especially. Now, let us assume that a given element in one of the shards attains abnormal ascendancy. Just as water will flow from the highest point to the lowest, the excess energy will begin trickling into the source. And such an influx of ether will of course exert a palpable influence. If the element in question were fire, then drought and wildfires might ensue. If it were ice, one might expect the weather to turn bitterly cold. As ether continues to pour in, such phenomena will become more and more extreme, until eventually, a single, untimely event triggers a disaster which cracks the barrier dividing the two worlds. what was once a trickle now becomes a deluge, sweeping the shard along to be rejoined with the source. At the same time, the element which held sway in the shard is unleashed in full, its energies amplifying the original disaster to truly catastrophic proportions. An earthquake thus magnified might strike with enough force to shatter continents. A tidal wave might swell to a size capable of drowning entire nations. These devastating events are what we refer to as umbral calamities. 7 times has a calamity befallen the source. 7 times has a shard been absorbed. At present, the light-drowned realm of the First stands perilously close to meeting the conditions for a rejoining. It is the Sin Eaters who are to blame for the Light's continued dominance. In addition to attracting their lesser kin, the Light Wardens I mentioned earlier radiate ether, saturating every corner of their territory with light. Even here in the flood-spared region of Norvrant, their influence is strong enough to banish night from the sky. Thus, if we are to restore balance to the First and head off a potential calamity, it is imperative that we put each and every Light Warden to the sword.
We've been doing our best to take the fight to the enemy ever since we first heard the Exarch's explanation.
Though we have yet to claim any meaningful victories if truth be told. Apart from being confoundingly elusive, the Light Wardens possess a troublesome quality which compelled us to delay our plans until such time as you arrived.
Forgive the interruption, my lord, but Hallminster Switch is requesting reinforcements. They say the Sin Eaters are attacking in force, and the village could soon be overrun.
Alert the guard. We should be prepared in case the fighting reaches the Crystarium. You have command of our forces in the field, Captain, but hold off on entering the town until I arrive. That goes for Alphinaud and Alize as well.
My lord.
Pray, lend us your strength. Such a fight will provide you with far greater insight than any explanation I could offer.
Alright, we return. You find her voice actor bad? I didn't hear any issues with it. Well, Mr. Switch is in the north of Lakeland, so we had best make haste with our preparations. In fact, meet me outside the Crystarium at the crossroads northwest of the Ascensor Gate, and I shall lead you there myself. Alright, we'll go outside of Holminster and we'll take a break. Thought it felt very flat. I'm not sure how much experience she has as a voice actor. She doesn't get too many lines, so I may not have paid too much attention to the actual quality of it. I do know the guy who voiced Vothri was, he's only done like 4 games. 5. I think he's like additional voices in one of them. Hey Omega, welcome! How you doing? Alright, so guys, we're gonna take a break here. Omega, I'll be right back to chat with you here in a moment. You can see our red panda in the background. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, guys.